Hi guys, if you want to see an eyebrow tutorial, go ahead and keep watching how I achieved this. I used only one product, very easy, quick, smooth application. Go ahead and keep watching. I already did my face makeup, so next I need to do my eyebrows. I just go in with a spoolie brush and I brush them out, kind of get them all together. Okay, and then I go in with a angled brush and Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. Do very, very, very little product, just the tip of it. And oh my god, that could have been disastrous. And I'm going to underline the underneath parts of my eyebrows. Very lightly. And that kind of gives me a base of my eyebrows. It also helps me get my eyebrows to kind of look the same. So I just go underneath on the other eyebrow and do the same thing. Very little product. See how I did that? Okay, so they're about even. I really can never get them to be looking alike, which is fine. You know what they say, eyebrows are sisters, not twins, so it's okay if they're not identical. So then I go up with like whatever was left on the brush and I brush upwards. And I don't go up too high, so I'm kind of making hair strokes in the motion. I go in the motion of where how my eyebrow hairs go. So I'm moving it in the way my eyebrow hairs go, and I'm just like going upward. So I'm kind of creating a brow, because if you're like me and you don't have any eyebrows, you actually have to form an eyebrow and fill your entire eyebrow. And some people just need to go in for little touch-ups. I am not one of those people, unfortunately. Go on the other side, kind of fill in the gaps where I don't have hair. I did get my eyebrows microbladed probably 4 years ago. I loved it, but I wouldn't do it again. Everybody has a different experience. It didn't hurt. This eyebrow just didn't heal properly. The scabbing came off quick, so the ink didn't stay on. She had to wax a lot of this eyebrow, so the hairs that are there was the top part of my old eyebrow. That's why this one has no hair. And it's just expensive, and I like the results of a full eyebrow. So like maybe I'll do like a powder brow someday or something like that, you know. I'm just really picky. I think that's my problem. Okay, so you see how I'm kind of working the product up and not like making a sharp line on top. And I'm just going back and forth between my eyebrows. I'm using up the product. that's left on the brush. I'm not re-dipping. Okay, so very lightly creating a arch. Arches kind of go, if you use the pencil like this, that's kind of where your arch should be created. Same thing with inner corners and outer corners. Mine's not ever 100% accurate, but it's just a guide to go off of. And then I work the rest of the product inwards very lightly. I'm using a very, very, very light hand. And like I said, there's like very minimal product left on the brush. Okay, so now I'm going in, I'm dabbing just a little bit of product. And I'm gonna go back into this brow. I'm going to work the product in. I switch the angle of the brush sometimes because if you're going like this, when your hairs are going upwards, it doesn't really fill in those gaps in between the hairs. So by switching the angle this way and going up and making hairs, you get in between the hair and fill the gap. See how I switch the angle on my brush very frequently. I feel like that's key. If you're not switching the angle of your brush, you're kind of missing parts of your eyebrow. Okay, now I'm gonna go upward just like I did on this one and kind of create a arch. And I'm using a very light hand so that way I'm not overdoing it on product. And once I create the shape that I like, then I will go back in and kind of fill in the rest and make sure everything looks nice and filled in. And then I'm going to go towards the front, extremely lightly. I turn the brush in the opposite direction. Now I'm going to go and make a tiny little hair strokes, because I'm like lacking hairs towards the front of my eyebrows. And I have a lot of space in between that I need to fill in. I'm just going back in. I added a little bit more product on my brush. And now I'm kind of making sure the eyebrow is nice and full. Just with a little product. If you overuse product, you're gonna get a darker eyebrow. And as you're creating, you're moving upwards, you're moving too much product up and up. And that's when you start to have issues. I mean, unless if you really want a big, bold brow and like, you know, that's what you like, then that's awesome. But I like a minimal, bold brow. If that's a thing. If it's not, I just created it. And then I'm gonna go back in with my spoolie brush through them again. It kind of helps move the product throughout the hairs. Kind of put it in the front so it blends nicely. I love the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade because a little goes a long way, and I swear I've had this product for probably 8 months and I still have like so much left in there. Sometimes it does get a little dried out, so I just go in and add like the tiniest little dab of oil. And I let it sit overnight and like the whole thing's nice and moussey again. So I'm just gonna go back in. I have some spots that need to be filled. on this one. And any mistakes you make, I go in with a rounded brush, kind of like this one. See how the tip is round and it's very like thin. I guess it kind of tapers towards the front. And I go back in with my concealer with like the tiniest little amount, and I clean up the edges so they look more sharp, precise. It just cleans up the look. It really brings it all together. I didn't do I don't have too many mistakes that I need to fix, but that's just because I'm concentrating more. When I'm in a hurry, that's a different story. And I go in with just a little bit of product, and I just kind of dab around the edge. Just dab a little bit, and I don't bring it all the way upwards because I don't want the concealer to get on the hair and kind of mess up all the filling in that I did. I go a little bit underneath, so if you can tell kind of the space that I have created in between the concealer and my eyebrow. And I will just lightly work it upwards and blend it out and kind of carve out the excess that just doesn't look right. So kind of it cleaned up the edges of the eyebrow. And I'll go on top and do the same thing. I'm just using what's left on the brush. I'm not going back in with concealer. And when you do this after you do your foundation, it really doesn't mess it up because I'm using such a minimal product. So it's not moving my foundation around. It's not messing up my foundation. Just go on top to make sure. I'll go back in a little bit and do the same thing on this side. See the space I created again. So now I'm gonna go in and buff it out and work upwards, trying to not touch my actual eyebrow because it will make the hairs white, and then you'll need to fix that. And as you get experienced with doing this, this is not necessarily a necessity. I'm just doing it because I have an event I'm going to tonight, so I like to look more cleaned up. If I was a rush and going out the door, I mean, I have 2 kids. This is not happening. I would just leave my eyebrows how they were and go. But since I'm getting ready for an occasion, I like to make it look good. Anastasia Beverly Hills, they also have the brow powder that also works just great. It's really just preference. I used to use their powder before I found their dip brow pomade, which for me, I was overusing the powder, and I feel like I was buying the product more often than I would on the pomade. Okay, so that's the finished look of the eyebrows. They are not perfect by any means, but if you're a beginner looking to complete a look on your eyebrows, change up how you do them, I hope this helps.